Hello, my name is Jesse Hedrick. Uh, so I've been putting on Facebook lately a lot of some concerns of our North Carolina legislation uh, intruding on our right to bear and keep arms. The people's like, what are you talking about? What's going on? All right, so I'm gonna try to break this down the best way I know how. So growing up just kind of goes back a long ways. uh, Growing up, a good guy. Uh, Young, teenage, got in drugs. I think I was 20 years old when I was busted with possession of cocaine. The got a felony, went and done my time, did uh, got my paid all my dues, got all that behind me. The got my so-called citizenship rights restored. I've went and done jury duty. Well, anyhow, let's back up a little bit. Whenever I got off of probation, they told me I had all my rights restored, that I could have firearms at home. I always could have a shotgun, long rifle. The just what I understand is I couldn't have a pistol. Wouldn't never be able to buy a pistol. Wouldn't be able to get a permit to buy a pistol. The So 2014, Hillary's bunch and stuff changed some legislation in Washington that all felons would not be able to keep a firearm. Period. They did not. They slid this through with other legislation, and so now it's like, except for a fucking muzzle loader, which is probably more deadly than any gun out there. Uh, what you're seeing here behind me is like a Smith and Wesson in this picture here, but you can get muzzleloader pistols that are revolvers, Civil War, that's just as powerful as that. I mean, and don't even have to have a permit. I've got one. I was wanting to do this video just more. Cause there's a lot more to what I'm getting ready to say here. My brother just went through it. That's what kind of brought all this to a head. So a couple years ago, uh, my brother had purchased a laptop computer from a faggot that worked up here at the Dollar General store, and turned out it was his boss man's laptop. The sheriff's department had pinged the computer. My brother had been staying in my mom's old beauty shop between him and Dylan. They staying out there, keep an eye on us since my father's passing in 2013. Just kind of keeping an eye on things. Because my mom, she's scared to be there by herself. And at that time, when all this went down, was about the time murder. Hugh Moose had been murdered. There's a lot of breaking and entering going on in the area. So anyhow, my brother, he's there on what we declare home. I mean, he lives next door to my mom. All that's our home. That's our property. And he's staying between him and Dylan. One of the others stays out there in that beauty shop all night long. And he's got a little Judge 410 shotgun hanging on a wall back there. They ping that computer, come up in there, and they ask him about the computer. He said, "Oh yeah, I bought it from such and such up here." And he's got papers on all this. That's what I was wanting to really do, is get all this together and show you But I'm just gonna tell you, and if you don't believe it, then don't believe it. I mean, I've got the warrants and all the paperwork to prove it. If y'all don't believe the shit, I mean, my brother's got another felony on him because of this. All right, so my brother, at the age of like 17, he got caught with just a little piece of crack cocaine. When you're young, you done stupid stuff like that, and uh, that's kind of why I started my own business. Is because I knew I'd never be able to. When I got a felony on me, I would never be able to get a job at a good place like Goodyear or J.C. Steel, some place, a good paying job. I'd never be able to do it. So that's why I started my own business. Since this has been 20 years ago since I got in trouble, plus 20 plus years. Now it's been, at the time my brother is 25 years. He was like 17 when he got caught with a piece of crack cocaine, and he had to go do time. And got all that behind him. He got married. He'd been in trouble. Hadn't done nothing. We, through the years, hunted, been checked, and game wardens come up there. We, always been law-abiding citizens. There, forward, out of trouble. Had never done nothing. So they come in there, and he cooperates with them, gives them the computer, signs state evidence against the guy that sold it to him. Which the son of a bitch needed to be locked up for doing that. He didn't. My brother, he did not tell him that it was hot or any of that. He said it was his computer. But anyway, they wanted to. My nephew, my brother's son, was there at the time when they came. They asked, one of them bumped the door with his foot and seen the shotgun hanging on the wall in there. The little old 410, what they call the judge shotgun. And anyhow, my brother said, "You mind if we search inside of the building?" And he asked him why. You giving them the computer? Well, I guess they just wanted to search. I don't know, try to get him for something. They needed to get him for something. Just the way they are. He said, "Nah, you're gonna have to get a warrant. 'Cause this is my mom's place. My mom owns this. There's things in there that belong to my father. That it's her building. There's things there. He's told me they have to get a warrant." And so they leave. They could have left. They end up going. They go and arrest the guy that sold him, and he admitted he stole the computer. They got everything they needed to get that straightened out. But they couldn't leave it at that. They could not leave it at that. Just left well enough alone. So 2 weeks later, they show up there at night. My brother wasn't even there, but my nephew was, some deputies, and with a warrant to search that building. Because there's a shotgun hanging on the wall. Is that grounds for a warrant? So I don't, that's why I was wanting to get the warrant, get the paper together, but I'm tired of waiting for my brother to get this stuff together. He wasn't even there at this time. This is 2 weeks later after the computer. They show up at night with a warrant to search the building, which the address was wrong and all. I wouldn't have let him in, but he wanted to cooperate because about the time after they got there, my mom had called Dylan to come over there and talk to him. My brother pulls in the driveway while they're there, okay, and they hand him the warrant, and he's like, "Well, I guess you're gonna do what you're gonna do." He let him search his truck. He had no gun on him at this time, no gun in his person, no gun in his truck that he just pulled up in. Okay, so he lets them in the building where the shotgun was on the wall, and then Dylan had some firearms inside there that he owned, has permits for, which was a pistol, couple pistols that he had put away in. I don't know if he had them locked in but the building was locked up. They couldn't even get in there, and because my brother had the key to the building, and him being a convicted felon, and the pistols was in there, they give him another felon. But here's the thing: how I guess because of the law of the legislation passed under everybody's radar, North Carolina, all convicted felons, you cannot have a firearm like they say you can, not a shotgun. The only thing you can have is a muzzleloader, which he had in there, and it was his gun of choice. If anything was to break out, and he had to use it for self-defense, that was in there. They didn't take it, but they took his shotguns. There was 2 shotguns, and I think a couple pistols that belonged to Dylan was in his name. He got permits for them. They took his gun cases, a stock off of the shotgun, one of the shotguns, where you change it over to a pistol grip. They confiscated everything that had to do with a gun. The only thing my brother had in his truck was a gun case that had either a bullet, a rifle round, or a spent rifle round. That was the only thing it had in it. And this was like deer season 2 years ago. He's now off probation. That's the only reason I'm doing it. I wanted to make sure he was off probation before I went gossiping and stuff on Facebook. He really, whenever it come time to, he had to sell about everything he owned to get him a lawyer to try to fight this. His deadbeat lawyer, I call her, didn't do shit for him. I told him I'd have fired her and represented myself and took this before a jury trial. But he's disabled on top of every damn thing. He's a disabled man, hadn't been in trouble in 25 years, and they said he can't have a gun in his home. To defend himself, to protect his family, this is fucked up. All right, calm down here. All right, so, I've tried to be a good guy. I've tried to reach out to Sheriff Darren Campbell in a couple of occasions to talk to him about this and anything I can get out of him. Oh, it's legislation. We can't do nothing about it, Yes, you can, Darren. You can stand up. You took an oath to stand up for the Constitution of the United States of America, the right for people to keep and bear arms, and that right is not to be infringed on. There's a sheriff in doing that very thing in Washington State. They're trying to pass some laws to make it 25, for the age from 18 to 25, not be able to buy firearms till they're 25. He said he wasn't doing it. I mean, that was against the Constitution. He took an oath to stand for the Constitution, not legislation. Anyhow, I've tried to talk to them and try to get, because I got respect for what law enforcement does, for doing the right thing, but this was wrong. This is just wrong. And anyhow, get back to the court day. I mean, my brother, he didn't have the money for this lawyer. He had to sell his 4-wheeler, his motorcycle, his they're disabled like that. You got very limited income. And his lawyer was wanting more money to take it before a jury trial. I do not see a jury letting this go. So I'll tell him I'll go in there with him. I'll go and we sat behind the DA waiting on his attorney, lazy ass, to show up. She didn't show up till right there at lunchtime, lunch break, and we sat there and told him. Well, right behind the DA, the pews right behind. I guess that's what the hell you want to call it, a courthouse. And I told him, I said, yeah, we're just going to pick our own. You tell them you're not guilty. You're firing your lawyer. You're going to represent yourself, and you wanted a jury trial. They had offered him 2 years. You want to throw out? My dad had made a suppressor that was there inside that building. He didn't even know what the hell it was. It turned out they charged him for weapon of mass destruction because they said it was a silencer that was rendered unusable. It didn't even have a threads or no way to connect it to the end of the gun. It was actually it was something my father had made to put on the end of a 22 it was a suppressor and not a silencer. It went on the end of a 22 rifle for squirrel hunting. Anyway, they dismissed everything except for one charge, and that was the possession of a firearm by convicted felon. And they was going to make it be 2 years supervised probation, and Dylan wasn't going to get his guns back because there was I guess because he was the one that solely left them in the possession of my brother. Somehow they gathered he had possession of them, even though they wasn't on him. But because he could read, they was in his reach. Just because those guns was in my brother's reach, that consists of another felony. So I just don't see. I didn't see that a jury would go along with that. And anyhow, his lawyer shows up, and we go outside, and I was like, "Yeah, we're going to have a jury trial with or without you." And she said, "Well, the DA come. He said, I don't know what made him do this, but he just offered me a better deal for you." 1 year supervised probation, and Dylan, Mr. Hedrick, which is my brother's son, we'll get his guns back. They're going to let him have his guns back. So my brother, he gets oh man, that's a good deal. Okay, I'm just turning, and he's going to have another felony on his record, though. I'm like, man, I don't know if I'd do that, Jason, but well, if he had been found guilty, he'd been looking at having to go do 5 years. Would have been a max sentence. So anyhow, he took the plea. But legislation, right, the way things are going, is the whole thing is in my book is why is legislation doing this? I understand. I know that the cops, it's like, man, we're going to try to get every charge we can on people. Let's see how many conviction rates we got. They get this big head. Oh man, if they're gonna charge them, we got to get this convicted. Don't worry about whether the man's innocent or guilty or not. It looks good on their record. They got a good conviction rate. How about an innocent rate? This is an innocent man. And even on my hunting license now, used to where it had how did you kill this deer when you called it in. It was by archery, muzzleloader, or a rifle. So now where it says muzzleloader, they put firearm in parentheses out beside of it. So when you call that deer in, if you killed it with a muzzleloader, you had to, check. You're admitting to that you had a firearm on you, because now on the muzzleloaders, and I got a feeling that's what they're going after next. And not only that, they're going to be going after, like that was Dylan's gun. Trying to figure out where's them. Yeah, right there. if it's your gun and you leave it within the reach, that this is something that they are going after. If you leave a gun in the reach of a convicted firearms, like the way Dylan, if they're going to give him a felony for doing that. So it's kind of a domino effect. And you know, you think back, well, why are they letting all these illegal immigrants bring these drugs up here to begin with? And this is why they don't want to stop the drugs. They want them drugs to keep coming in here. Yeah, they all preach that they did want the wall at some point in time and some kind of fence barrier to keep the people out. But they want to be able to let them hand them drugs through that fence. That's why now they're not doing a wall; they're doing slats or whatever. They can get them drugs right through that wall. And I'm telling you, people, this is like a Trojan horse. They declared war on drugs back in the Clinton days. The war on drugs, I think, was Bush era. Declared war on drugs. All right. So, but yet they're letting these illegal immigrants bring drugs in here, which is killing thousands and millions, if not millions, of Americans. It has killed millions of sovereign Americans. And I know for a fact it's like 6 million convicted felons. Now you take all of the felonies, and that's just from possession. That ain't coming from that stemming off from the drugs of like the people writing bad checks, stealing, and all that. They do not want to stop the drugs, and this is where we're all victims at. Even the convicted felons. When you're young, you start off with alcohol, then you go to marijuana. And then you get the bigger and bigger and more stronger drugs. Luckily, I stopped at cocaine. It could have been so much worse with today's things. And the best thing that could have happened to me is I got sent to prison. And my brother, he got sent to prison. And that's when we had our chance to get cleaned up. It's the best thing that could have happened to us. And I've seen friends and family of mine. At least 30 are dead now because of this poison that they're allowing to come in here. That's what's killed them, is this poison. And we're at war with these the southern border. It's like the Great Alamo when we beat them then. They're still trying to take this country over. And it's chemical warfare in my book, and they're using the drugs to do it. That's just the whole point to it. We got to stand up. We got to stand up. Sovereign said, this is how sovereign citizens are born. We have got to get this straightened out. Now, I can't duck hunt. You can't have a shotgun. I can't go duck hunting. Can't go rabbit hunting. I can't squirrel hunt. I can go deer hunting with a muzzle loader. But damn, if I can't go hunt with all of it, I'm not going to hunt any of it. My lawyer told me, it costs about $3,000. He can try to get my record expunged. I don't want my record expunged. I did wrong. I'm gonna live with that. But when I turned my life around, I'm a successful business owner. I'm a father. I went and done jury duty. I was the head jurist in my jury duty. I'm a sovereign citizen. I'm a law-abiding citizen at that. I pay my taxes. I ought to be able to keep a gun if of any choice, even a damn pistol. I can go buy this right now. Hell, I can make it if I wanted to. I own my own machine shop, Hedrick Machine and Fabrication. I can legally make this gun for myself. So why the hell can't I go buy one? And people, the way they doing it, they're wanting to disarm America. Allow these legal immigrants come up in here and take this country. They're allowing their poison to kill us off. That is what is going on. That's why Pelosi does not want them to. I know back, you know how they was for the wall. That's just so they could get your votes back in those days, before Trump. And I hope to God what Trump's doing now, what's coming. I hope what comes is he did make a promise that he was going to return our country to the people and restore the rights to the original writings of the Constitution. If as long as that happens, we'll be okay. But that could take 2 years. But I can't, I had to give up my guns. I mean, I had pictures of me with a 10-pointer here a couple of years ago that I took with a rifle. It was the year before I knew that we couldn't have the guns. It just blew my mind that they locked my brother up over having a gun in his house for self-defense. So that's it. They're coming after everybody's guns. They're coming. Legislators, they're going to make it to where if you spit on a sidewalk, you're going to get a felony, and then you ain't going to be able to have a gun. If you got a felony, you can't have a gun. Period. Except for a fucking muzzle loader. Who the hell wants a muzzle loader? Well, right now, I mean, that's how I do my home defense. I can kill the hell out of you with the muzzle loader just as good as I can with this revolver, Smith & Wesson I've got showed up here behind me. But matter of fact, I've got it. I've got one. Got several, a couple muzzleloaded rifles. Do have those, even though it says on my huntings now they're calling it a firearm whenever you check your deer in. But they told my brother he had a Patriot muzzleloader. They let him keep it because they know that it was a legal firearm that he could have. Well, they're going to be wanting to try to change that, but that's what I'm getting to. But they're making more and more laws felonies. You can write a bad check, get a felony. When we got caught with our drugs and got our felonies, we didn't have no firearms on us. Wasn't nothing violent about it. Both of them. Mine's 20 years old. My brother's 25 years old. Felony. That's how long ago it was. We're both law-abiding citizens, and now he's on number 2 felony. Now he gets another. That's strike 3. He'll have to go do 15 years because of the 3-strike habitual felon thing. So he's really got to walk the talk line now. I just want to let everybody know. That's the deal.